In this series, I aim to give you a quick introduction to some of the common plant families found in the UK. Learning to identify plant families is a great help in identifying individual plant species you come across. Plants are classified into families based on characteristics that they share. So the way to identify a plant's family is to know these characteristic features. Today we're going to look at the Orchidaceae, or orchid family. This is one of the biggest of the plant families, with around 26,000 species, plus many human-made hybrids. The Orchidaceae are found worldwide, apart from, as usual, Antarctica, and there's an especially high diversity in tropical areas. Orchids are perennial herbaceous plants. They grow on the ground or as epiphytes in trees. A few are vines, namely vanilla species, the vanilla orchids. The main uses of orchids are as ornamental plants. For example, species and hybrids of Dendrobium, Vanda, Cymbidium, and Phalaenopsis, the moth orchids. Vanilla planifolia is grown as a spice for flavouring. A number of species don't possess chlorophyll like most plants, giving them a pale appearance. These rely on fungi for sustenance. There are roughly 55 species in the UK, and several of them hybridise with each other. The UK species are all terrestrial, growing on the ground. Dactylorhiza fuchsii, the common spotted orchid, Epipactis helleborrhini, broad-leaved helleborrhine, Neotis nidus avis, the bird's nest orchid, Spiranthes virilis, autumn lady's tresses, Neotia cordata, lesser twayblade, and Orchis mascula, the early purple orchid, are but a few examples. The flowers of orchids are very distinctive. They are irregular in symmetry. They have 3 sepals, which are usually coloured like the 3 petals. The petals and sepals generally look similar to each other, apart from the lowermost centre petal. This petal forms a lip called the labellum. The labellum varies in shape between species and genera, from lobed in Dactylorhiza to insect-shaped in Ophrys epiphyra, the bee orchid, to elongated in Platanthera bifolia, the lesser butterfly orchid, and pouch-like in Epipactis helleborrhini. The labellum often has markings on it, or different colours to the rest of the petals and sepals. In many species it also forms a spur at the back of the flower. Flower colour is often pink, purple or white, or a combination of these. Fun fact, in the bud, the labellum is at the top of the flower, but as the flower matures it twists 180 degrees. So orchid flowers are actually upside down. Go figure. Instead of the standard stamens and stigma, orchid flowers have a structure called a column, which holds the reproductive parts. Pollen is held in 2 distinct masses called pollinia instead of as loose grains. There are 2 fertile stigmas at the base of the column, and a third infertile one that's modified into a piece of tissue called the rostellum that sits between the pollinia and stigmas. The flowers are mostly insect pollinated, with the pollinia sticking to the bodies of visiting insects to be carried away to another plant, though some species can also self-pollinate. The ovary is inferior. The fruits of orchids are capsules containing vast amounts of very tiny seed, which is dispersed on the wind. The leaves of Orchidaceae are simple and entire, mostly arranged alternately on the stems, with a few species, like Neotia ovata, having opposite leaves. The leaves are often compressed into a rosette. The leaves on the flowering stems may be scale-like and reduced. The leaves have parallel veins and tend to be thick. Some species have spotted patterns on their leaves. So, if your plant has irregular flowers with 3 petals and 3 sepals, and the bottom petal is modified into a labellum, the fruit is a capsule, and the leaves are arranged alternately on the stems or in a rosette, then you have yourself an orchid. See if you can find any of these species on your travels. Dactylorhiza fuchsii, the common spotted orchid, with a dense spike of pink flowers with patterned labellae and spotted leaves. Epipactis helleborrhini, the broad-leaved helleborrhine, with green and sometimes reddish flowers with pouch-like labellae and green leaves. And Neotia ovata, the common twayblade, with yellowish-green flowers with two-pronged labellae and a pair of opposite leaves.